Hello students, so we are going to start with the next exercise, that is exercise 1.3, where you are going to learn more about rational and irrational numbers. I hope you must have understood exercise 1.1 and 1.2 thoroughly, that is HCF and LCM we are dealt with, okay. So exercise 1.3, basically we are going to learn about rational and irrational, as I said. In the 9th standard you have learned about how to locate irrational numbers on the number line. Correct? We are going to learn the theorem of irrationality numbers. How to prove that root 2 is an irrational number, root 3 is an irrational number. In short, root p is an irrational number. Now here, for proving this theorem, now this theorem is very important from board's point of view. So let's go on. So to prove this theorem, first we require this theorem as a base for proving. Okay? So let's understand this theorem. This theorem is not important from exam point of view, but it is there in NCERT. So we will just understand it. We will write in notes so that the theorem becomes more clear. Okay. So first we will go through this theorem. It says that let P be a prime number. Okay. This is given in the textbook in the form of theorem 1.3. So let P be a prime number. So what is the condition? P is a prime number. If P divides A square, then P divides A, where A is a positive integer. Okay, so P is a prime number and it divides A square, then P divides A. So before we go to this proof what exactly, let's take an example. Let's take an example as prime number 2. 2 is a prime number, right? So P divides A square. So it's a square, that means it's a perfect square number. So suppose let's take 64. Okay, so 2 divides 64 we know. And 64 is nothing but 8 square. So if 2 divides 8 square, if I write 2 divides 8 square, this implies 2 divides 8 according to this here. So here it is given that P divides A square. So this is a conditional statement. It is given that P divides A square. If this condition is true, then that condition you have to prove that it's true. That P divides A. Correct? So here I have taken an example that 2 is a prime number and here A means a positive integer, which is a composite number. So if a prime number divides a square, that's a perfect square number. So if 2 divides 64, that is 8 square, then we know that 2 also divides 8. Okay? If this condition is not fulfilled, then this condition is also not fulfilled. Suppose, can I take that 3 divides 64? No, 3 doesn't divide 64. So if that condition is not fulfilled, then this is also not fulfilled. I hope you have understanding, right? Let's take any example. For example, here 5. You know that 5 divides 25. That means 5 divides 5 also. Correct? So here 25 is a composite number, right? So which is a perfect square. So 25 can be written as 5 square. Therefore 5 divides 5. Correct? Let's go to this proof. As I said, try to understand, don't try to go very deep because this is not important, but we have to understand since it is there in NCERT. So here it is given that P divides A square. When I say P divides A square, means from this only we understand that P is one of the factor of A square. Right? Now here I say 2 divides 8 square. Means what? In that 64, somewhere this 2 exists. Correct? So here since A is, as I said, A is a composite number. A is a composite number. So here, let the prime factorization of A. So A can be factorized. So if I factorize A as P1, P2, Pn. Now not necessary that P1, P2, they will be different. Not necessary they will be different. They can be different, they can be same. So we are just assuming that A P1, P2, P2, not necessarily they are distinct. Okay. Now here they are given P divides A square. So I am taking the square of this. So if I take the square of this, A into A. So if I multiply this bracket twice, so what will I get? P1 square, P2 square and Pn square. So here it is given the condition P divides A square. As I said, it simply means that P is one of the prime factor of A square. So if P is one of the prime factor of A square, so here by which theorem I can be very sure this? Do you remember? We have already learned, that is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. From this theorem, I am very confident that yes, P is one of the prime factor of a square. What does fundamental theorem or the arithmetic says? That if one number divides, it means it has to be the unique factor. It is one of the factor of a square. So by fundamental theorem of arithmetic we can say, so p is one of the factor. I have just skipped the steps. This not very clearly I have written. This is just for understanding. So p is one of the factor of p1, p2. So somewhere p will exist here. But this theorem says that if p is dividing, that means it must be a factor. So it will exist among this p1, p2, pp, this p anywhere in between or anywhere. But it will exist among this from p1 to pn. So already we know that a is nothing but p1, p2 we have assumed. Because a square, for a square first we require a. So we have assumed a as p1, p2, pn. So p will exist here obviously. So if p exists here, it means p divides a. Correct? Now here, don't get confused. You just have to remember this fact that if p is a prime number and if p divides a square, then p divides a, where a is a positive integer. I hope that is understood. It's a simple theorem that we are applying fundamental theorem of arithmetic. P divides a square if this condition is there. P is a prime number, remember. P is a prime number. If this condition is there, then p will be dividing, because if p is dividing a square, so p will be one of the factor of a square and a will exist, right? So p will also divide a. I hope this condition this theorem you have understood very clearly. Correct? Now moving to the next, we will go to the actual theorem. So the theorem we have, as I said, we are going to prove the irrationality theorem, which is very, very important from board's point of view. Let's prove the first basic theorem, that is same. The theorem go, that means root p. This theorem is applicable. I am proving for root 2 is an irrational number. If instead of 2, any number 3, 5, 7, this, the procedure is the same. Prove that root 2 is an irrational number. Prove that root 2 is an irrational number. Now to prove this theorem, as I said, this is for 4 marks. You have to write this all steps. Only for 4 marks you have to write. Now what about when 3 marks? That I'll tell you afterwards in the next. Okay. Prove that root 2 is an irrational number. Now for this theorem, we are going to use contradiction method. What is the contradiction method? That means what we are supposed to prove, that we will assume opposite of that, ulta of that. So let us assume that root 2 is a rational number. Let us assume that root 2 is a rational number. So we are using contradiction method. So we are assuming, let us assume that root 2 is a rational number. If it is a rational number, so rational number is in the form of p upon q or a upon b. So therefore root 2 equal to a upon b, and here we are assuming that this a and b is in the lowest term. Okay, we have simplified. We are assuming that a and b are lowest term. If in that form it is there, for example, if I take 4 upon 6. Now here you know that any fraction or any rational number is there, we are customized that we always reduce in the simplest form, right? So lowest form. So we write this is 2 upon 3. Here 2 and 3 are integers. They are 2 upon 3 is a rational number, right? Now here the relation that they don't have any common factor other than 1. Now you will say 2 and 3 are already prime numbers, so they will not have any common factor. What is the new thing? Now if I take suppose 8 upon 10. So 2 4s are 8, 2 5s are 10. Right? Now 4 is a composite number and 5 is a prime number. But when I ask the relation between 4 and 5, they don't have common in this case. 4 and 5 doesn't have any common factor other than 1. So what is 4 and 5? They are called as co-prime integers. So co-prime integers are basically that they don't have any common factor other than 1. Now this is very, very important what we are writing here, because we are going to contradict on this statement and prove a theorem. That is the main logic. So here you need to write. So we have assumed that a and b we have reduced to a lowest form. So you will write where a and b are co-prime integers. So this is understood. When I write co-prime, so it is understood that A and B are in the lowest form. Okay, they are in the lowest form and they have only common factor as 1. And one more important condition, that B not equal to 0. Very, very important condition, because we are going to contradict on this statement only. That here we assume that root 2 is let us assume that root 2 is a rational number, and therefore we are writing the form of A upon B, where A and B are co-prime integers and B is not equal to 0. So at present A and B doesn't have any common factor. That is what you are going to contradict. Okay, so let's assume the next step you have to remember, take this B this side. So we'll get root 2B into A. Correct? Take square on both the sides. Or I can write A equal to root 2B. Okay? Squaring on both the sides. So when I square on both the sides, what do you get here? So here LHS square and RHS square. So A square, when I take the square of this, root 2 square will be 2. B square will be here B square. B square, right? So here we get A square equals to 2B square, right? Or we can say here 2 is a factor of A square. Can I say this? Or 2 divides A square. When I take this 2 this side, see, I am getting in this form. So what do you understand here? That 2 divides A square. Now here we are relating this theorem which what we have proved. I said if P is a prime number, is 2 a prime number? Yes. Is this is a square of an integer? Yes. So if prime number, so if P divides A square, then P divides A. So in this case, what we write? 2 divides A square, and so 2 divides A. 2 divides A. 2 divides A square. See, a prime number divides a square of any positive integer. Therefore, 2 divides A. If 2 divides A, that means what? 2 is a factor of A. Okay? 2 is a factor of A, means A can be written as 2 into something. So, here we'll write, therefore, let A equal to 2 into C, where C is some integer. Where C is some integer. I hope you have understanding. So let A equal to 2C, where C is some integer. Now we have proved that first initially we have, I think you must have understood that here A and B doesn't have any common integer. They don't have any common factor other than 1. Here we have proved that 2 is one of the factor of A. Correct? Now we need to prove that this 2 is also a factor of B. If we prove that, then this will contradict our given. Correct? So to prove this, we are going to use what we are already having here. So here we'll mark this as 1 because our aim is to prove that now this 2 is also a factor of B. Correct? So we'll substitute the value of this A in this equation 1. I'll mark this equation 1. So what you will get? So substituting the value of A in 1. So when you substitute the value of A in 1, what do you get here? So here I get, instead of A, I'll substitute the value 2C square equal to 2B square. Just check here. Instead of A, I have substituted 2C. So it is A square. So 2C the whole square equal to 2B square. So we get 4C square equal to 2B square. This 2 goes here. So we'll get here 2C square equal to B square. I hope you understood. 2 goes here, cancels. So we have got 2C square equal to B square. So suppose I take this again, it is in this form. Just try to relate. Right? So here I get B square upon 2. Can I write this 2 if it goes here? That means can I say 2 divides B square? Therefore 2 divides B. Now this is not necessary, not at all compulsory. Directly you can write from here 2 divides B square, therefore, because 2 is a factor. So you can write 2 divides B square. This is just for additional. If you're not understood, then it will be more clear. So here we can write this implies 2 divides B square, and so 2 divides B. 2 divides B. So here we have said that 2 divides A and 2 divides B also. Therefore 2 divides A and B. So 2 is dividing A and B. Therefore I can say A and B have at least 2 as common factor. So first initially co-prime integer, but they have a common factor. Have at least 2 as a common factor. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Right? So this contradicts that they are co-prime integers. So this contradicts our given, but this contradicts our given. Sorry, not given, our assumption. But this contradicts our assumption that A and B are co-prime. That A and B are co-prime. This contradicts our assumption that A and B are co-prime. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Is wrong. Therefore, root 2 is a rational or is an irrational number. Root 2 is an irrational number. I hope this proof is understood. Once a quick recap we will do. So we have proved initially that if P is a prime number and P divides A square, then P divides A. Correct? So P is a prime number, understood. So how did we prove that P divides A square, P divides A? A we have written as a factor of P because P divides A square. Right? So A we have written P1, P2, P3, Pn. I hope you are visualizing when I am telling. So A square will be P1 square, P2 square, P3 square, dot 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 Pn. P divides A square. That means a fundamental theorem of arithmetic. P is one of the factor of A square. So if P is one of the factors, so it will be among P1 dot P2 dot Pn. But A is already P1, P2, P3 dot dot Pn. So P will also divide A. Correct? So that particular theorem we are using to prove this. So let's assume contradiction method. Suppose assume that let us assume that root 2 is a rational number. So if root 2 is a rational number, here then I can write root 2 as A upon B, where A and B are co-prime integers. Again, I am repeating, very very important, because if you are not writing this, then the whole proof doesn't have any meaning. So A and B are co-prime integers and B not equal to 0. We have taken this B this side. This you have to remember on this time. So B here, root 2 B equal to A. That means A equal to root 2B. I have square on both the side. So squaring on both the side, we get A square equal to 2B square. 2 goes this side. So we understand that 2 divides A square. 2 divides A square. Therefore 2 divides A by the previous theorem. So if 2 divides A, that means 2 is a factor of A. Therefore A can be written as 2C. Where C is some positive integer. So here I am substituting the value of A in this. Why I am substituting this? So that I get a link with B. I have to prove that 2 is also a factor of B. So here we are substituting that 2C square equal to 2B square. So square of this 4C square or 2B square. So here this 2 goes this side. So here this 4C square upon 2 equal to B square you get. So here it becomes 2, right? So here 2C square equal to B square. This means 2 divides B square. I have just taken this. 2 divides B square. Therefore 2 divides B. That means 2 divides A, 2 divides B. Therefore 2 divides A and B. Therefore A and B have at least 2 as a common factor. So but this contradicts our assumption that A and B are co-prime. Therefore our assumption is wrong. Therefore root 2 is an irrational number. So similarly you can prove root 3 is an irrational number, root 5 is an irrational number, root 7 and root P as an irrational number by the same steps. You just have to change the number. Here when you square, if root 3, then root 3 will come and then here 3. Root 5, then 5. Understand, don't memorize and mug up. Students usually they memorize and mug up. So when it is asked root 2, they write here 3, they write here 5 without understanding, because they must have memorized for root 3. And root 5 is asked, they will write the same thing. So if you understand and you try to see each step right and practice, then you will never forget. I hope you have understood. Please try out the sums of exercise 1.3 first. Okay. Thank you.